Welcome, welcome, welcome. Dr. Jason Dean, BraveTV, your source for health, freedom, and knowledge. Oh my goodness. Let's stretch. Let's get our serenity on. It is a world, I can tell you that much right now. It is a world. Come on in, live viewers, live chat. I'll take some questions today as well. 407-305-3646. How many people are feeling the effects of what's going on right now? How many people? How many people feel the effects of what's going on with this world? Maybe I'll play. I got some videos to show you today. Some videos to show you today. Haiti just released its prisoners. I don't know about that necessarily. I haven't been following that one. Any new viewers? We have more subscribers coming in. Are there any new viewers coming in? Let me know if there's new viewers before we get rocking and rolling today. We live in a combination of Idiocracy and WALL-E. That's what we live in. I'm pretty convinced. Okay. Through the roof. I missed the Haiti thing. I have not been following Haiti thing. What have I been following? I've been following health stuff lately. I didn't sleep too bad. I slept great the night before. However, the pressure here is a little high. And I don't have sinus issues typically. So what am I going to do? I'm going to do some sinus cleansing today. I will probably do some coffee enemas today to get that liver to be flowing properly, correctly, etc. I'm feeling they're going to try also Patriot 69. I feel like they're going to do the same thing. I think they're setting it up. Yeah. Setting it up. Here, watch this. Enjoy this.
We are at the moment in a cycle of life where everybody, if you're just a little bit aware, you can feel something is shifting. Some people are not willing to maybe adapt to the change. Some people are not strong enough to adapt to the change. Some people don't know how to put it into practice in order to go with the change. It is my perspective. There will come the time, and it's not going to take long, where a natural separation is going to take place, a natural separation. The ones that are able to read the signs, that are able to go with what is happening, to adapt to the changes this world is bringing to us, they will move on to another world. They will move on to another area, to another cycle of us humans being right now here on the earth. And other people that are unwilling, unable, maybe incapable of adapting to the coming changes. It is simple like this. They will stay with the old world, which is about to end. That's the message. That's all what this is about. An old era is about to come to an end. A new era is about to come. This is worldwide happening. It's happening inside our monastery. It's happening inside of me.
There you go. It's quite simple. It's quite simple. Hey, All right, let me show you this before we dive in. Let me show you this. Here is a little, okay. We're going to get crazy tonight. All right. How many of you out there are not on After Dark? It's a membership. You have to go to bravetv.store to get your membership. Tonight, I have a special guest on After Dark who will be chatting with us. Special guest on After Dark. I think this is the first like full-on guest that I've had. I don't think I've had guests on After Dark. Here's the guest that I'm going to have on After Dark tonight. Ryushin from the Orion Lines will be on After Dark tonight. He has a book coming out, he has a book out, Catastrophic Disclosure. He will be he will be on tonight. He just emailed me back. He's going to join us at now some people will say, why won't you have him on? I will probably have him on the show again, but on After Dark we're going deeper. That like we're not like I can't scare the shit out of everybody on the regular show. I got yelled at for that. Not by anybody bad, but yeah. So that's tonight. Fantastic. Okay. Let's talk about food. Let's talk about food. They are fundamentally trying to change the way our food works and operates. All right. And this starts, we are going through a change. And there's a lot of people out there who are really struggling with the idea that they can't just eat what they want. I mean, you can eat whatever you want. But if you want to keep your health, if you want to keep sane, if you want to keep alive, we are not designed to eat a plant-based diet. Okay? We are not designed to do that. We were designed, doesn't mean you can't eat plants. I didn't say that. I said you weren't designed to eat that. All right? You're not designed. You were designed, the body heals and builds itself from animal-based proteins and fats. Plants are medicine. Very big difference. I stumbled across this, which I need to show you. This is a company called Savor. Savor, and this is a Bill Gates company. This is what they're doing.
That's great. Agricultural emissions are one of the most difficult to get rid of. People have come up with alternative food, but what we're seeing is that it's hard to get more than a small...
Hold on. Does anyone look at that and say, man, that looks like an appetizing hamburger? Does anyone think that looks like an appetizing hamburger?
We're seeing is that it's hard to get more than a small market share, and those foods just don't taste the same. Savor's made an advance in the chemistry. It's ultra different in terms of the environmental footprint, but it's as good as those real animal fats.
At Savor, we've been really excited to explore a new technical approach to making food that does not require vast amounts of land or animal suffering, doesn't produce greenhouse gases. It's a totally non-agricultural method for producing food. The fats that Savor makes are made by a thermochemical process. They are the only foods in the world so far that are made entirely without photosynthesis.
Happy to have you here. We're gonna have a meal together. Everything has been made with Savor fat, different kind of formulation of Savor fat in it. Everything we're trying to showcase.
Okay. What diet is Bill Gates on? That what would he call that gut?
Here is that sustainable food needs to be craveable as well in order to get to mass adoption and mass market. We think that butter is very special and it fits very well our technology because it's hard to replicate animal butter. It has a very complex composition when it comes to fatty acid. What do you think?
That's great. Oh, I wouldn't have been able to tell you that wasn't butter.
Okay, that's great.
What shall we try next?
Next is burger and fries. So in this, we have a different kind of formulation. So it's our Savor tallow formulation. And then we have fries, and then we have aioli.
That's quite good.
Here we are looking for juiciness. We're looking for what we think is so far missing in the alternatives we find on the market. All of them are using plant oils. So like the melting profile is different, the mouthfeel is different. And so how do we get to something juicy and drippy and craveable? So now we have the end of this journey, which after burger, we're just gonna get ice cream. And this is what you're looking for, something which is fully pleasurable and past beyond what we find very often on the market.
Try chocolate now. And we've got strawberry here.
Yes.
It's got that rich feel. So the dream here is that Savor itself will be coming out with butter in the next year or two. And then for these other products, Savor will be a key ingredient to help them achieve food that is environmentally friendly, but also tastes great.
He has to be one of the most dull people on the face of the planet. Hold on. Savor fats here. So, oh my God. Okay. Savor makes delightfully rich foods without animals, farmland, fertilizers, hormones, or antibiotics. All right. Now, the process. We start with a source of carbon, like carbon dioxide. I can't make this shit up. We start with a source of carbon, like carbon dioxide, and use a little bit of heat and hydrogen to form chains, which are then blended with oxygen from air to make the fats and oils we know, love, and drool over. That's how we get rich, delightful ingredients without animal suffering, palm plantations, or dangerous chemicals, all in the most efficient, most resilient, least polluting way known to science. Now, hold on. Hold on. I'm not really wanting to laugh on this because this is a legitimate, actual hardcore issue that's going to be coming up. Hold on. I need to show you this one next. This is a little longer video, but I need you to watch this because this is mind-blowing. So, fat is made of 3 molecules, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen.
What if we told you that the next world-changing startup doesn't make electric cars, NFTs, or AI anything? What if we told you they make fat? This stuff, but also this stuff. Drippy, gooey, sizzly, savory fat. As any chef will tell you, every food, no matter how innovative, only tastes as good as the fat you make it with. And this fat delivers. This fat doesn't come from an animal, it doesn't come from a farm, it doesn't even come from a plant. It's made from carbon dioxide and water, just like the fats found in nature. We just skip the animal suffering and the environmental destruction caused by farmed fats. We make 0 carbon fats. That means you don't have to sacrifice your meat tooth, your inner cheese freak, or your conscience. That means having your ice cream and eating it too. Isn't it nice when the good thing, the right thing, is also the delicious thing? Welcome to the start of something truly new. Sustainable food is now craveable food.
First off, if you haven't made money
Oh, the
with
damn
AI
ads.
yet,
Hold on.
don't worry. AI is the biggest.
Savor. Feel good fats.
So this next company I find super interesting because they use a very similar technology to Solar Foods. They're using a combination of carbon dioxide.
So here, let me jump in. This is my favorite part. Okay. They start with simple ingredients that plants use, carbon dioxide from the air, right? But that's not really what they're using, everybody. They're lying to you. So this says they start with the simple ingredients, carbon dioxide, air from the air, and hydrogen from the water. They add a little bit of heat, a little bit of technique. The fats take shape, chain of carbon and hydrogen, which are then blended with oxygen, form the air to form the fat molecules, okay? but they're not. That's not true. Hold on. Let me continue this because that's not true. They're using petrochemicals. Hold on. Let's keep going.
From the air and hydrogen. There's 4 different types of technologies so far that I've seen companies use to make alternative fats. First is the microencapsulation technology from lipid, which we saw in an earlier video. Second would be precision fermentation, which we saw in the last video. Third would be cell cultured fats, which quite a few companies are working on that. And then fourth would be this approach. This video, like the last video, is taken from the Good Food Institute conference a number of months ago in San Francisco. And this is a look at what this company is doing.
Chiara Cicchini, and Chiara leads business development at Savor, a company on a mission to make sustainable, craveable, animal-free fats by producing carbon-neutral fat and oils, starting from carbon dioxide. She is a self-proclaimed food nerd, and I believe she's in great company today.
Thank you for being here to talk about fat at an alternative protein conference. So this is like a very small sample of chefs at the Savor we keep on talking to, and everybody says kind of like very similar thing. Taste is flavor, flavor is fat. I do have butter here as well, if someone want to taste it at some point. But so thinking about this, for us has been very much about how do we nail down a product that is the key representation of fat. If you think of fat, 80% of butter is actually fat. Dairy fat is very special. There are some alternatives on the market that try to get there, but it's very hard to get on performance and taste, the feeling that I was talking about. How do we get there? What we're looking for is a butter that performs.
So they want all the good stuff without getting it.
It's a one-to-one replacement. So if you talk to chefs, they all tell you these keywords. I want a butter that browns. I want caramelization. I want lamination. I want puffing. I want spreading on a slice of bread. I want the curd. There are like millions and millions of dollars that are spent every single year from companies that are trying to replicate butter on the curd, because it's something that it's crazy, but like it's something that sells and it's something that people can recognize and are familiar with. And so,
okay, this is my favorite part. I don't know if you can see this or not. Let me. I don't know if I can. I'll try to make it a little bit larger. No, that's about as high as it goes. Okay, we'll do this. So, input fats made from scratch. Okay, they claim that they're making it from carbon dioxide and air and water. The input is paraffin wax from carbon dioxide or other carbon feedstock. Now, hold on a second. These idiots. Okay. The carbon footprint of the carbon feedstock, CO2. Now, capturing and utilizing CO2 as carbon's feedstock from chemicals, fuels, or polymers is frequently discussed to replace fossil carbon and thereby help mitigate climate change. So, carbon feedstock Why are low carbon feedstocks, or what are they and why are they important? Feedstocks are materials used directly in manufacturing processes and transformed into an intermediate or finished material. For example, the chemicals industry uses a large amount of fossil fuel derived feedstocks like natural gas to manufacture a range of building block chemicals such as ethylene and propylene, which are then used to produce everything from plastics to fertilizers. Now, hold on. Paraffin wax. Paraffin wax is a white or colorless soft solid wax. It's made from saturated hydrocarbons, right? Vaseline is a petroleum jelly made from paraffin wax. They're making the butter from carbon dioxide, which is really, they're making it from petrochemicals.
We started with that because we think that this technological approach does have a pretty key advantage on creating something that otherwise would be very hard to make. At Savor, we don't use cultivation, we don't use precision fermentation. We actually use like a different kind of approach. We base our process on thermochemistry. And so we start from an input, which is basically CO2 and green hydrogen in a form of paraffins. And then we take those paraffin waxes and we basically oxidize them. Oxidation is a word I never tell in front of chefs. Chefs don't like to hear that, but
Chefs don't like to hear the word oxidation because it doesn't work for food, but that's what they're using. So they're putting in paraffin wax and other carbon feedstocks or petroleums. They're using their platform oxidation technology that chefs don't like because chefs are actual food chemistry people. And they get from that a proprietary fat and oil formulation for animal-free foods and beyond.
What I can say is that we basically push oxygen in this wax to actually get a reaction. And through that reaction, what we get are fatty acids. Short, medium, long chains of fatty acids, which we know are the building block of any kind of fat. So with that, we can actually craft what we want. And so in our case, we are having fun with trying to craft a fat that...
So the first one shows how close it is to beef tallow. The second one is how close it is to lard.
Very much behaves as beef tallow in the way it melts down and in the way then it crystallizes back. Or pork lard. And you see like how similar and different these are. Like everything is very peculiar. I could double click on the beef tallow and see like how a corn-fed beef actually has a fat profile that behaves very differently from a grass-fed one. So it's very specific. Nature got very, very deep into the details on that. But we do believe that starting from these building blocks is actually something that uniquely we can achieve. And then another example is actually what you see in this butter is
this is a comparison to butter.
Is milk fat. And so the fat that you find in dairy products and you find in butter as well. And so you see how it melts down in a very unique and specific way and how it gets back in terms of recrystallization. And this is a work in progress, but like all the work is basically that we can do with these building blocks is around mimicking that. And so we decided to really start with this dairy fat and to put it in a perfect vessel for dairy fat, which is butter. So this is not on the market yet. We're going through a regulatory path. So it's something that, again, we have a hack here. We have like a version that is actually made with food grade fatty acids that could be tasted, which is how we are getting feedback from very, very early on. But this we think is something very special because it's animal free, is dairy free, is nut free, which is something you usually don't find in alternative butters. And since we can get this melting profile and we can get closer and closer, we can actually improve on something that usually vegetable oils don't get to. Botanical oils come with a predefined set of characteristics that are usually very hard to change. And in this case, we're very movable, we're very improvable while fighting something which is very static, which I think is one of our advantage here. And so everything that keeps us up at night and we are kind of like nerding about now when it comes to this butter is how do we get closer to the melting profile when the butter is on the pan, or how do we get closer to the mouthfeel? This is very interesting, actually. This is like the difference of solid fat and liquid fat and how it changes in temperature. And that's very interesting because what happens here is like at 37 Celsius, which is our body temperature, there is like the very last change of state of butter, which is the reason why when you put like animal fat and especially butter in your mouth, you actually have you have a feeling and you feel like there is a couple of seconds when like butter stays in your throat, on the back of your throat. And that's not a vegetable oil characteristic, but it's very much what we're going after with that. Or workability, how much strength do we need?
So here they're trying to compare it with Kerrygold butter, Organic Valley, and Miracos, looks like a Greek one. And the fact that Savor is right in the middle, supposedly.
To actually spread on a slice of bread. So we're getting pretty nerdy on this aspect, which is probably what I want to drive home, I think, with this conversation here. Like, in order to win, we need to hit price.
Can you talk about production costs and scalability of your technology? And what major cost bottlenecks do you see the alternative fat industry facing?
And for the record, the reason I'm playing this, everybody, some of you might get a little bored. I get it. I'm playing this because this isn't like some sort of fairy tale. Like this is legit. This was the Good Food Conference of 2023. They're planning the rollout of this, not even just to store shelves. They're planning the rollout of this to restaurants. So when you go out to eat, you're going to have to know what they're using.
And do you see a future where you can make metric tons of your product?
So I feel from us, like our process is very different from everything else because it ran kind of like on a different realm. I should say our CTO, Kathleen, who was the one who worked on the research beforehand, before this was becoming a company, like often says how this was basically the only one approach that stood up instead of like being able to get up to scale with no green premium, get to play in a league where we can compete with palm oil and these kind of commodities that are like $0.9 a kilogram or so on. So I feel like long term we feel very comfortable and confident about our approach. It will be like a journey. Like our commercial scale, we look at like being competitive with dairy fat, which is $5 a kilogram, and then world scale is more like where we think like we can get to like that $1 a kilogram. In terms of like quantity, like world scale, we're talking about like 500 KTA, so like 500,000 tons a year. So like quantities there. If I'm thinking of a bottleneck, I'm more thinking of like we need demand for all of it. We need like to scale up and like to have offtake for all of it, but the technology had proven at scale to actually get there in terms of quantities and pricing when it comes to thermochemistry.
How is the product different than traditional margarine? And then a follow-up question.
So I think that was one of the most important questions. She said, how is this different than traditional margarine? Because what I see with this is literally a recycling of the Crisco in the margarine world. And we know what trans fats did to people. We know how bad it was. This is and there's no long-term studies that I've looked for yet or seen of what this stuff would do to arteries, what this stuff would do to the physiology, to your cells, to your brain at all.
That was put here is how do we avoid the trans fat debacle? So I think if any of you guys feel comfortable talking more about that fundamental.
Yeah, I'm not the most scientific and technical person on this panel, but still I can say that margarine is definitely like something that comes up. Like this is the only thing that people can think about of like, this is butter, but it's not butter. This is butter, but doesn't come from animals. And it's very cheap. And it gets back to like what we were saying here, which I believe it's a core focus. Like your first question is what everybody should think about days and nights. With green premium, we don't sell anything. And the result is people buy margarine just because it's cheap. And it does kind of like the work. Does it do it greatly? It does not. But still, like people are like, it's cheap and this is what I can afford. But still, this is different. It doesn't have any trans fat when it comes to like our product specifically. If we talk to massive producers, they don't use margarines mainly for a performance reason. Like we see like how, yes, green premium is something we should avoid, but at the same time, they don't need to go so down in price to have margarine. If the gap in terms of performance is so big, nobody can laminate pastry with margarine. Nobody can have like a puff pastry that is decent with margarine. And so I feel like the main difference for us on that is how can we get to a price point which is not higher, it's just price parity, but the performance actually gets there. And margarine didn't do that job.
aftertaste. So I'm going to try Savor's butter after this, so I'll let you guys know about the aftertaste. So you did touch upon points like mouthfeel, taste, melting points, but what about that aftertaste? That's one of the shortcomings of some existing non-dairy alternatives or non-animal.
That's a great question. I feel talking to chefs, it kind of like it very much comes up. Let me start by saying that what we have been learning is that when you talk to like alternative ways to make fats, texture is a mouthfeel is the first thing that comes up, which is why we have been focusing on that. If you talk to chefs are like, we can play with flavor all day long. We can't play with how it feels into your mouth and mouthfeel and melting profile, which is why we are leading with that. Having said that, we know that fat is flavor. So far, we have done basically nothing on flavor because we really want like a very neutral platform and then to work off of that. But there are some chains of fatty acids that do have some specific flavors, like just naturally, like they can. For example, like C4 is well known for having like a creamy flavor and so on. So this is what we have been leveraging so far, nothing more. So feel pretty good about like where we are on flavor in terms of neutrality. If you have a lard, you'll definitely feel the pork, and this is something that will come after, at least for us. But we learned that when it comes to fat, is mainly texture, and flavor comes as a workable thing that otherwise you would not have to do. Like if you don't have texture, we don't even talk about it.
So if you heard over and over, she talks about the price point, the price point, the price point, price point. Folks, they're putting plastic in you. That is their goal. Now, here's another one. It's part of this company. Now, here's the issue. And I see a lot of people out there. Some people are going, oh, I'll just never eat out again. This is not about not eating out again, everybody. We cannot. My concern is that, like, for example, we travel. I don't plan on not traveling. Like, I don't want to stay at home on my little ranch the rest of my life. I have no desire to do that. And I want people to get out of this mindset of like, well, I'll just stay home and never leave my ranch. And blah. That's not what life is. Life is about adventure. Life is about seeing things, doing things, etc. We can't just bail out on society because they're doing something weird. You have to let your restaurants know, your area, your local places know this is not acceptable. We have to step up, right? If I go to a restaurant, I'm going to start looking for this stuff and go, okay, make sure this is not in there and ask questions. Hopefully, obviously, they'll put it on the menu, but you still need to ask questions about what they're doing. I really don't like that people get into this idea of like they're just going to bail. Oh, I just won't do that anymore. That doesn't help people. That helps you. That doesn't help people. You're here to serve, not just serve yourself, serve others. That means looking out for people, letting people know, hey, this is a problem. We don't want this stuff in our restaurants. Not just because of me, but my people I know. I need to let people know this is not okay. Okay? That's a big deal because I think people unfortunately get the wrong idea on that. Now, Bill has other companies. It's not just Savor. Here is C16 Biosciences. High performance ingredients without compromise, made for the world's leading consumer good manufacturers, enabling health, wellness, and sustainability. They're building your food in labs. That's their goal of this. Go palmless. Now, they plan on using this in your foods. Okay? Now, here's palmless. Palm oil doesn't need to be a problem. They're combining, once again, other things together to create palm oil. Now, I'm not saying palm oil is good or bad. My point is it's been used forever. All right? This is what they're doing. They're going after all this. trying to change palm oil. Now, here's the kicker about palm oil. They claim that we're destroying rainforests in Indonesia for palm oil. They claim that we're destroying we've destroyed 25 million acres of rainforest in Indonesia because of palm oil. There's roughly 250 or so million acres of rainforest. Now, I looked this up. I'm like, okay, well, how many acres are there? Because 25 million acres sounds like a lot. There are over 250 million acres of rainforest in Indonesia. Okay, 25 million acres. That's a lot of acreage, all right? That means you're like a quarter-ish, maybe a little bit less through the rainforest. We can't destroy rainforest. I do agree we shouldn't be destroying rainforest. However, then I had to look up palm trees. The palm, it's essentially a fruit. Okay. How long does it take for a tree from seedling to maturity? It takes 30 months. It takes literally 2.5 years to go from seedling to a mature tree. So here's my question. If we're destroying rainforests to get palm oil, why can't these companies, for every tree they use and take down or destroy, why can't they then just grow more trees that they can come back to 2.5 years around? And why can't they just recycle the trees? Why can't they just plant the new one? Why can't they rotate crops? So is it really that we have a palm oil problem and a tree problem and a rainforest problem? Or is it that we have corrupt, greedy companies that won't do the right thing? And then they really just want to make shit in a lab. There's no reason a company, if you're a company that goes into this and says, hey, we want to make palm oil, well, you should already put in your costs and your expenses. Hey, we're taking down natural land. We're taking down rainforest. So we're going to create a plan that when we do this, we're going to rotate and we're going to plant new ones so that we can come back around and get that as well. That should be a mandatory regulated situation. If you want to make something that comes from natural resources, like trees and the regrows, then you should be investing in the regrowing of the thing that you're using to sell to customers. This ain't rocket science, everybody. However, this is where they're going. It is our job to stand up and to vote with our dollars for this not to happen. Again, I don't believe this means shutting down your world, stopping of doing everything. I don't believe this means, and here's the other thing. I do believe we as Americans, I believe we as humans have a duty to support our small businesses in our area. So when someone tells me like, oh, we're not going out to eat anymore, you realize that hurts people, right? You realize there are mom and pop places out there who are working to get by, who are working to provide for their families. And at the end of the day, it's our duty to vote with our dollars with the right people to support them. So when we go shopping, we do our best to go to these mom and pop places, or we go to non-chains, right? So I believe it's all of our duties to support real companies and businesses, because if you want to put a business together, you want people to support you. So you better start supporting them. So I am not in agreement of stopping all eating out and everything else. No. We have Greek places around us. We have seafood places around us. We have all different places around us that we support food-wise, to make sure we know they're staying in business as well. Now, it doesn't mean you go to the big chains. It means you support the local small businesses that are trying to also make it in life and also have families. Okay. I think that's really important because, again, I see Patriots getting this mindset of we're just going to shut everything down. We're going to stop everything. We're just going to stop doing everything because you can't. That's not how it works. Support your local community. Support your business owners. Before we go today, because I got to get ready for a meeting after this, and then I have tonight, which is going to be kind of a big deal for After Dark. Again, Ryushin Malone from the Orion Lines will be on After Dark tonight. Okay, After Dark tonight. Yeah, definitely stop eating fast foods. I'm saying definitely stop eating at the chains, but don't give up on your small. I mean, there's people out there even who have I forgot the name. They'll buy into a chain, right? Make sure you're supporting them. Before we go, here's a little bit about sugar. Maybe I'll bring this up more tomorrow as well. The number one thing that I hear on a daily basis, the number one thing, right, is I hear complaints about eating sugar or carbs. Franchises, thank you, original Hillary. Carbohydrates. Here is a piece of factual information for everybody out there. Your body does not require external carbohydrates to survive. Let me say that again. Your body does not require sugar. Your body does not require external carbohydrates to survive at all. You do not have to have sugar or carbs for the human cell to live. Well, Dr. Dean, we need carbs. What do you mean you need carbs? No, you don't. Well, our body needs carbs. Our brain needs carbs. Our brain needs sugar to survive. I've seen it. It says that. No, it doesn't. It doesn't need external carbohydrates or sugars to survive. Well, but Dr. Dean, the brain needs glucose. The brain will run on glucose. That is correct. Glucose and fatty acids. However, it doesn't need sugar or carbs from an external source to operate it. This total BS that people sell themselves. I have to have carbs. No, you don't. It's not true. I'm not saying you can't have some. I'm just saying you don't need them. Well, but the brain runs on it. The brain runs on glucose and fatty acids. Your brain is fat. Well, but then it needs sugar. No, it does not. No. The brain can use glucose. Yes, it does use glucose. Well, then how do we get it then if glucose is sugar? One, your body will produce it. Here's the big one. There's something called gluconeogenesis. Your body takes proteins and it will break proteins down to glucose. And your body will use that glucose broken down from a protein where it's needed. So the other thing I get all the time, it's unbelievable the false information out there. I get this. I've been told I have too much protein. No, you haven't. Well, whoever told you that's not telling you the truth. Well, I was told I have too much protein. You're not going to eat enough. To get too much protein, you would have to get to a point where you're literally puking because you're so full, and then you keep on going. Well, Dr. Dean, my doctor says that my kidneys can't handle. Your doctor doesn't know what he's talking about. You won't get to a too much protein situation unless you have some major kidney problem where you only have one kidney. And that's probably not even likely. You don't have a protein problem. You have a freaking sugar problem. Gluconeogenesis. You do not need an external source of carbohydrates to run your body, your cell, or your brain. Your body will break protein down to make glucose. That is the only sugar you technically would need, and it comes from a protein. Meaning, eat your animal proteins. Eat some plant proteins if you want. Your body only requires external sources of protein and fats. If your doctor thinks that your 250 cholesterol is too high, you probably need a new doctor. Any doctor that tells you your carbs are required for the human diet doesn't know what they're talking about. Anybody who needs a new practitioner, work with drdean.com/qualify. I tell you guys because I'm shocked at how many people buy into their BS. You guys are addicted to carbs. When you tell me you need carbs, it doesn't mean you need them. It means you're addicted to them. That's what that means. Mabe Jr. says they tell you only 30 grams of protein at one time, but they say it's okay to eat 150 grams of carbs a day. Stupid. Yeah, anybody tells you 30 grams of protein at a time, I don't know what they're talking about. I mean, I can sit down regularly and knock out 1 pound to 2 pounds of meat very easily. Is gluconeogenesis? Gluconeogenesis is just your body creating glucose where you need it. That's all it is. Maybe tomorrow we'll go over the actual different physiological processes of the body. Because people are getting caught up in information that they don't fully understand. Yes, your body breaks proteins down if it needs them to carbs or to sugars, glucose essentially. Right? Cholesterol is required for the human body. Cholesterol is required for sex hormones. Cholesterol is required to create the myelin sheath around your nerves in your brain. Your brain is fat and cholesterol. It is stunning how many people are being fed lies. We'll also, I'm not going to do it today, we'll also go over the gigantic fraud that is Ozempic, semaglutide. Not today. My God. We still have a population that is fixated on garbage. Is coffee bad? That depends on who you ask. Is coffee a drug? Yes, coffee is a drug. There's a lot of drugs in the world. So is a phone. So is blue light. Coffee is also a superfood. A gun can be good and a gun can be bad. A coffee can be good and coffee can be bad. Add some Savor plastic, Pink Honey. Ozempic? Oh, here. Ozempic is about as good as Savor. Any long-term studies on what Ozempic is going to do to somebody? Oh, probably not. You mean because it's going to kill people? It's unreal. Unreal. You can eat protein and fat and be perfectly fine. And you will never need a carb in your life. You have no idea, Hilda. Hilda says, Dr. Dean, you have hair. It ain't lasting, I can tell you that. This hair is out of control. The only reason it looks like this right now and it isn't frizzy all over the place is because I have gel in it. And my wife's like, I don't think I've ever used gel in my life around my wife. My wife's like, are you putting gel in your hair? I'm like, yes, it's out of control. This is a 3 months without a no haircut. And this is going to get shaved off as soon as humanly possible because I despise it. Why do I despise it? Because it's not full of hair in the back. I can tell you that much right now. No, the hair is going away. Don't get used to it, everybody. I don't like my hair like this. I don't think people have seen my hair like this ever. Not since I was like in maybe college. Ozempic is so bad. And no one's paying attention to it, how bad it is. Someone's hair is falling out from Ozempic. She lost 50 pounds though. I'm telling you, people love the simple. What, 10% of the world wants to work at it? 10% of the world wants to work at it? Maybe 5% of the world wants to work at it? I mean, it's unbelievable. Yeah, coffee. I mean, I've gone months without coffee. I've gone years without coffee. It doesn't bother me to go without it. It's just more fun to have it. You won't have cravings if you eat fat and protein, but you have to eat enough. The problem is most people don't eat enough protein. They don't eat enough fat. That's half the problem. Let's see. Everyone wants the easy way out. I agree with you. I agree. Toupee. I'm not wearing a toupee. Yeah, the side effects of Ozempic are horrible. We'll go into that someday. Everyone wants an easy fix. Maybe I'm not going to say it out loud. Oh my gosh, everybody. Last couple minutes of questions and I have to run. Ooh, 3 eggs and 5 strips of bacon. Last night, I had a steak. I had a ribeye steak last night. And then I had 5 eggs, I think it was. I was going to say I'll get a yarmulke, but I'm not Jewish. I already saw Nicolette's thread. I retweeted it last night. It's going to get crazy, everybody. It's going to get nuts. Wait till you find out who the real Jews are, and wait till you find out who really imprisoned the real Jews. Go back to Exodus. How many people really want to talk about what Exodus really is? Interesting stuff. We'll be back tomorrow, everybody. Nosebleeds, I would start with some vitamin C. And then I would add a lot of protein. I'd get rid of some parasites. Everybody, you guys rock. We are here to reverse metabolic enslavement and work to prevent the neurobioweapon destruction and save this freaking civilization at the end of the day without savor in our food. Love, serve, and help, everybody. I'm Dr. Jason Dean. I'll see some of you tonight with Ryusha Malone from the Orion Lines tonight at 8 p.m. on After Dark. Have a great Wednesday, everybody. Dr. Jason Dean, Brave TV. Take care.